Hi guys, and welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about things that all Australian hermit crab owners may need to know. So let's get started. Of course, if you're not Aussie, then you're welcome to join in and watch this video. So we'll start off with saying that you don't have Ecuadorians or purple pinchers. Australian hermit crabs are Aussies. They're their own species, and you're not able to get these two species in Australia. The only other type of hermit crab you can get is a strawberry, which is a very bright red, big kind of jumbo hermit crab that needs special care. Aussie hermit crabs are very adorable, active, and they often are recommended to have a little more space than most hermit crabs. So if you can, try and go for the 5 to 10 gallon instead of the 5 gallon for your Aussie hermit crab. The next thing you may not know if you're an Aussie hermit crab owner is that Aussie hermit crabs aren't actually really a fan of turbo shells. Turbo shells are most commonly recommended in hermit crab videos because what most people have is a purple pincher hermit crab, but Aussie hermit crabs actually like more oval shaped shells that are like this. Their favourite type of shells are the ovals, and they're also willing to try on the D shapes. They will use turbos if that's all they have. I recommend the whale eye shell, the Babylonian shell, the Japanese land snail shells, and Aussie hermit crabs usually really like nerite shells as well. This is a common type of shell for hermit crabs to come in when you first get them, as well as a turbo shell for when they're really little. Speaking of shells, I highly doubt that any of you have had easy access to all of these kind of shells. Let me tell you right now that when you're in Australia, it is really hard to find good shells. However, I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight on where you can find shells if you're an Australian. My first and top tip is to look on eBay, Amazon, or Etsy. Right now, I got these bunch of shells for about $30. Which I think is a great deal considering that it's really hard to find shells in Australia. Want to have a look at that? You can check out this video. Yeah, definitely recommend that. You can get a lot of good shells online. Okay, the next thing you might not know about shells is that a lot of shells have a lacquer on them. Before you get any new shells, you should always pre-boil them. And if it has a weird chemically smell, then it's probably not safe to give to your hermit crab. If they are not safe, just chuck them out. It's not good for them. It's just as bad as painted shells. The next thing is to do with the substrate. Australian hermit crabs come from the beaches of Western Australia and can often and so the sand substrate is very much what is common for them, and it's what I recommend, as my hermit crabs have been way more successful molting with this substrate than with the other substrate. Substrate for Aussies is also better to be a bit deeper than the 6-inch mark. My tank seems to have a continuous 6 inches along it. However, I used to have 8 inches, but I'm going to have to top it up when all my hermit crabs are up next time. Sometimes the substrate just kind of settles down and it gets a bit lower than it usually was. My next tip is that you should do a lot of research in what is the cheapest option for hermit crab supplies. If you were like me, you probably found out that you needed coconut fibre or play sand, and you went to the pet shop and bought some. However, have any of you heard of Bunnings? Bunnings is awesome for hermit crab substrate. See this? This is my Bunnings play sand. You get it really cheap, like I got this for $4. I also got the Qua instead of the coconut fibre. It's just another brand of coconut fibre, and you can get a really good deal on bricks of coconut fibre for $2. I got a really large one, which I will show a little video of now of how much I actually got out of that big thing, which I'm still working through right now. My next tip is that you should not buy craboos. The craboos tank is honestly really terrible. I've known someone who tried really hard, did all they could to try and improve their craboos tank, and the design is just really bad. There's not any room for any increased substrate. They only have enough room for about 2 inches of substrate at the maximum. They don't have enough room for more than 1 or 2 hermit crabs. They really honestly need a buddy, so you can't exactly have 1 hermit crab. And also they stock painted shells, and the water dishes are really shallow. I just recommend going to a cheap reject shop or something and getting some Tupperware dishes. They're much cheaper and they work so much better. The Crabooze tanks don't hold any humidity. I've seen this in action. It is not fun. If you are in the case of having a Crabooze tank and you don't know how on earth you're going to afford to get a new one, I definitely recommend going on Gumtree and just keeping an eye out for some tanks. A couple weeks and you'll probably find something pop up near your area. I have seen $10 tanks on Gumtree that could be used to house 2 or 3 hermit crabs. In terms of food, Aussie hermit crabs are very much a hungry species and will eat many things that you give them. Something I've found though is that Aussie hermit crabs aren't really into the vegetable, usually much more of a fan of seafood and dried seeds and all that. My hermit crabs have this piece of millet which lives in their tanks. To do with food, Cuttlebone is awesome. Definitely go ahead and grab some Cuttlebone next time you're at the beach. It'll be a lot easier to get them to eat calcium when you have some Cuttlebone just sitting in the tank all the time. My final tip is to do with water, and that is the water conditioners. You may be using water conditioners similar to this brand or this brand. However, I've found that that's actually not the best brand of hermit crab salt. I used this one myself. For around the same price point, you can get things like Prime, this one was $10, and you can also get things like API tap water conditioner, which is about $6. In terms of the salt category, I know many of you would have trouble finding Instant Ocean. If you order it online, you'd get it for, at the cheapest, $150, which none of us really want. And you may be using just an unbranded one or something kind of not the best quality. Something I recommend is just asking your pet shop owner for any sort of salt that is intended for marine life and saltwater fish that live in the ocean. And here's one which I use, which is Red Sea salt. It is completely safe. This was pretty expensive. It was about $40. I'll probably have this for 10 years, honestly, this whole bag. You only need a pinch for each litre of water that you use. I hope you all enjoyed the video and got something out of it. If you have any opinions or any other tips that you have found from caring for your hermit crabs, just leave a comment down below and I'll be able to try it out. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe or watch any of my other videos. Goodbye! So just a little note here, I hope everyone's going alright with the coronavirus outbreak. If any of you are in an affected area or are quarantined, I hope that you get better or you don't get sick. Stay healthy and well.